Hi guys, welcome to New India Junction. This is Priyanka Deo. Today we have a very special Changemaker episode. We are here with Advocate Nitin Bakshi, who is the President of the Young Lawyers Association of Jammu Bench. Nitin, welcome to the show.
Hello ma'am.
Thank you for being here today. So tell me a little bit about yourself. When did you start practicing law and what is the Young Lawyers Association all about?
First of all, I want to thank you and the whole of your junction, which has provided me a platform to speak upon a very sensitive issue.
We are very happy to be here. So.
Myself, Nitin Bakshi, who has recently been elected as President Young Lawyers Association
Congratulations.
of J&K High Court Jammu. And the main thing which it was that the elections have been conducted after a gap of 5 to 6 years.
Okay.
It was due to some problems, internal problems, that the elections were not being conducted.
Okay.
But the recent elections which has been conducted has come out with such colors which were not even expected to anyone.
In what way?
In what way, ma'am? That it was a heavy raining day, and still the turnout of the voters was very much energized and enthusiastic. Voters were there.
And that this was not the case before.
Yes, this was not the case before.
Okay, great.
That is the thing. Now, coming to the point, I have completed my LLB from Jammu University campus.
Great.
From the and to be more specific, from the law department, and it was a 3-year course.
Okay.
And I have remained student activist there also. So it was a very time which was very tough. Actually, the sources were very meager. It was a that very time which was also miserable to me, as I had some family problems, but still sailing through the ups and downs and the turns and the twists, we came upon with very successful results there.
Great.
For which we struggled. Even in the cold nights, we sat on dharnas, but God was, Almighty was in our favor, and we came up with successful results and favors.
So now at the beginning of this interview, you mentioned that 370 and 35A is a very sensitive issue, and I'm dying to hear why. Can you talk a little bit about 370, 35A, especially in regards to young lawyers?
The recent elections where young voters came out in large numbers to vote was a reason that the several policies of the state government are not being implemented here in a proper way and manner, which needs to be implemented and executed.
Can you give me an example of one of those policies?
See, ma'am, I want to tell first of all, there is a Advocate Welfare Act, which is not being implemented here.
Okay.
That is due to at some junction.
Can you explain to the audience may not know what that act is about? Can you briefly in one sentence tell us
yes, why not?
Yeah.
Ma'am, as such, we take an example of employees of state or central government. There are employee provident funds. ESIC organization is there to look into the affairs of the employees who might be suffering at one or another point for some problem or some obstacle which they are facing. In the same way and manner, ma'am, of lawyers, which are also considered as officers of the court, we are not subordinate to the presiding officer. We are the officers of the court. In an independent way and manner, we work here. But when it comes to our welfare, so policies are not even lacking. There is nothing on the ground.
Okay, got it.
So that is the point, that Advocate Welfare Act is there. If any respected lawyer or any fresher is facing from any health problem or any such obstacle, so that very act empowers them to get to approach such offices which will provide them funds for their welfare.
Okay.
This is the very basic point to get addressed by the government, which is not being addressed till date.
Okay.
So, ma'am, the point is that the allotment of chambers, and as such soldiers who are in the battlefield, their main strength is their ammunition. As such, the lawyers practicing have their ammunition, these books.
Okay.
So the books and the rich libraries are the very basic need of the lawyers first. And even to that very fresher lawyer who has to struggle in the very first 5 to 6 years.
That's the most important thing.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
At that very junction and point, we need a strength, we need a power backup so that we could survive in this profession.
Right.
And that needs two things. One is the rich books, and another is a financial support to a certain extent.
Okay.
And that very thing is the very first thing which I came up in the arena to contest this very election.
Okay.
And for this very thing, I had made some efforts to even approach the central government and to be very specific, to the law ministry, union law ministry, so that they could redress our grievances and problems. But unfortunately, there was a respected union minister, Sushma Swaraj. She got expired recently, and respected Arun Jaitley sir, he also got it. That's a very big loss to the nation. And they were also they were a great legal figures of the country.
Yeah.
So that these two unfortunate incidents halted the programs of young lawyers, which we would continue further.
That will continue.
That will continue.
Now let's talk about 370 and 35A. You mentioned that it's a sensitive topic. Why?
Very much, ma'am, very much sensitive issue it is. First of all, ma'am, I want to tell you that these articles are not for a common man, for everyone, for the person of this country. This is a very sensitive issue, as the emotions of the different categories, regions of J&K, from Lakhanpur to Leh, from Kishtwar to Araspura. These are such ends that the people are emotionally attached to this very article. As I would first of all,
what do you mean by emotionally attached?
Emotional, ma'am, at some very point I will tell you. That is what I am going to explain.
Okay.
There are refugees in our state, West Park refugees, which are residing here from last 70 years. But the unfortunate thing, which you will be fascinated to listen, that till date they don't have voting rights in state assembly. One thing here, there is permanent resident certificate, which in layman language we say state subject.
Right.
They don't have those state subjects. As state subject was a ticket in J&K to approach certain amenities, even basic. I don't even use the word privilege. To the basic amenities, you should have a state subject, which they were not having from last 70 years. But I would, having some other political affiliation, that doesn't matter even an iota for me. The thing which matters today is the welfare of whole masses, which has come with the scrapping of these two articles. As the policies of central government, which were not first being implemented directly to this state, will be now directly to this very state one. Those people, those refugees will now get the voting rights, as well as they will access each and every facility of the central government.
Right.
And I will first, and another thing which I want to here ask, that some people are here misguiding a particular community, that you will not get this and that. Earlier it was good for you, but it is not now good for you.
Give me a specific. What do you mean by that?
See, ma'am.
Misguiding in the sense of what?
Yes, I want to explain that thing.
Yeah.
That I want to clearly tell that the majority community of the state was being misguided by a certain bunch of people who had their own vested interest in those very things.
Okay.
But they were misguiding these people that you will not get this and that very thing with the scrapping of this article. As such, I will tell you one thing, ma'am. For particularly the minorities of the country, Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, Sikhs, there are several policies of the central government which were not earlier being benefited to them. But now those policies will be directly beneficial to them.
Right. As
they will get several facilities, as they will get several perks, privileges here. This is the biggest privilege which we will get by scrapping of these two articles. Sorry. And one thing we want to say, that the state jobs were earlier accessible only to the permanent residents of this very state.
Right.
But with the scrapping of these very articles, the jobs of this very state will be accessible even to a person from Tamil Nadu or from Gujarat or any other state.
Right.
I think that's a welcomeable move, because we should not act like a frogs of a well who is only confined to that very well. We should come in the open competition. We should compete with those minds, as that competition will enlighten our students. My future, I am very happy with this thing, that I was only limited to the PRCs of the state, but my children will compete with the people, with the children of whole country, which will make them more shine like gold. Earlier they were not gold, they were only that artificial gold, but now they will become the real gold of 24 carats.
Right.
This is very much point which I appreciate.
That's a good way to put
it.
Yes,
this is a good way.
And the exposure as well, in terms of you'll get people coming in as well as not competing, but the exposure of just you being integrating as part of the country and being one. So it's not just confined, as you said, to the state.
Yes.
It's interesting that you say that, because when we look at what I wanted to ask you is, now our channel focuses a lot on young people and positive development. And is this the sort of reaction that a lot of young people are having? That are they excited about it? Do you see this in young people? Are they energized? Have you seen any changes so far?
Ma'am, first of all, you have asked me such a question where your involvement is very mandatory.
Okay.
I want to say that 50 to 60%, I want to say, like as we have roamed about every nook and corner of country in several aspects and that very thing, but still there are those very people who are not there in the connection or anything that would connect with them out of state. As earlier there was poverty, still there is poverty in the outskirts of Jammu even.
Right.
And if you go to the far district like Rajouri, Poonch, the situation is very deplorable, ma'am. For that very context and that very need, people like you, journalists who are from outer state, are assets to our people who come from there, and encourage them and show them the outer world, what the world is and where the world is approaching and going.
Right.
And that is the thing which will come, which has come already. People like you with the scrapping of this very article.
Okay. So you've seen that happen?
Yes,
on the ground.
I have seen that happen.
Okay.
And that will even is escalating towards the development.
Great.
And will escalate far more speed in a far more speed which is today.
Now, especially it's that was my next question in terms of development, in terms of both infrastructural as well as policy-wise, as well as mindsets of people and changing. What do you look forward to now after the scrapping of 370 and 35A? Especially as a young lawyer, you're president of the Young Lawyers Association. What types of things, if you could name the top 3 things that you're looking forward to, feel free to name more, but the top 3, what would they be?
I always feel free because we are living in a free India from 1947. So I will first of all tell you, ma'am, earlier I was talking about the whole state. Now I will confine to my legal fraternity.
Okay.
I will tell you one very thing. With the scrapping of this very article, several industries will come here.
Okay.
And the litigation of industries has bundled very much in the states outside J&K, but here it is equivalent to 0. But I want to say that with the scrapping of this article, when the rights of ownership will be given through the industries and factories and huge establishment, those industries will come here, and that will automatically encourage, escalate the employment.
Yep.
And in that very manner, we will also see a huge change in litigation also, and which will encourage our young lawyers very much to work in this very field, who are today, several people are there who are getting demoralized by that work is very, very, very meager here in courts.
Right.
And that very work is confined to certain eminent veteran lawyers. Even every lawyer is a veteran, but the work will be distributed.
Correct.
So our fraternity will grow.
Okay.
That is the
number 2.
Number 2, I would like to say, ma'am, the people, our respected lawyers from other parts of the country who would come here to contest the cases, who are still they are coming. There is no barrier such way, but with the increase in litigation, they will also come here. Okay. And I think that when they will come in our contact, we will learn more and more. We will there will be opportunity for us to learn, to see new things. I think, ma'am, those things were not earlier tangible. Now they will be tangible to us.
Correct.
With the scrapping of this very article.
Okay. And number 3.
I will tell you number 3 also, ma'am. Number 3 is that the tribunals here, there are tribunals. There are very limited tribunals here, as such industrial tribunal and state commission to see into the grievances of customers and that very thing. But that will also increase the tribunals. As the litigations will increase, as such the courts will increase, and those tribunals will increase also. Okay. Which I have seen that there are several folds which are to be opened, which have not been opened. Okay. Several pages in several books, which even I don't have opened. Okay. That books I will be compelled, I will have to sit late hours, I have to see into those books, and those books will make me pregnant with knowledge. That is the thing which I want to say to the young lawyers.
So I said top 3 and you said you have more. So do you have any more?
No, I have several.
Go for it.
I have several things, but that will also make to the common masses of the J&K.
Yep.
And you know, ma'am, there is one thing that is in our districts, there is a district legal authority.
Okay.
Where the poor people approach for their legal problems.
Okay.
In Delhi or other states, there are also district legal authorities, but the privileges to the common masses here, there in J&K they are very less, but in Delhi as compared to that thing, and Punjab, even in the hilly state of Himachal, I have seen myself there, the facilities to the poor litigants are very, very, very high, and even there are the people who will guide you to the, even if it is related to the technology, even if it is related to any such thing which are still not here. Those very things which I felt there is the need of the hour of my state, they will automatically come when this article will be scrapped.
If you could deliver a message to Prime Minister Modi and the central government, especially after the revokement of 370 and 35A, what would you like to say to them?
This was a very welcomable step by our Honorable Prime Minister, and through the medium of your channel, I want to speak to my Prime Minister that I have already written several letters to our Prime Minister regarding several issues, but with addition to this very issue, I want to thank my Prime Minister first of all for this welcomable step, and after that I want to tell my Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, that with the increase in development in each and everything, kindly initiate certain steps to save our ecosystem also, our environment also, which I want to tell you that I belong to a village, and for village I'm a child born in 1987. In my very village there was a pond. So this is something related to my sentiments. I used to play around that very pond. So there were ducks, beautiful. There were some fishes, very beautiful. It was a beautiful and nourishing environment, and ma'am, I used to regenerate there. But today, very sadly, I have to say that pond is on the verge of extinction. So ma'am, there are several ponds in our, especially in our Jammu region, which have been extincted and are on the verge of extinction.
No, why is that the case? Is that because of weather? Is that because of pollution?
No.
Is that, what is it because of?
That is due to the negligence of the authorities and nothing else.
Okay.
It needs a huge amount of money.
Okay.
It needs some inclination by the government, as whether it would be
what steps, if you could take, let's say 3 steps, 4 steps, 5 steps, what steps need to be taken?
Ma'am, there needs, first of all, the population has increased many folds in our Jammu city. In that very thing, I want even a small help from my Prime Minister to make, first of all, we have to go for that. Well, I will tell you deeply, I have researched upon it, suction of the water from the pond, but aquatic life is to be saved.
Okay.
And after that, a boundary wall is to be made around its circumference.
Okay.
And after that, ma'am, it is to be filled again with the fresh water, and if there is any flow of any such dirty source of water or anything else, that should be stopped.
Stopped.
Yes.
Okay.
That is only, I am a village.
And now, besides your village, do you see that as a problem in the state?
Yes, ma'am, I have visited. That is the main point where I have focused. But in addition to that, I have seen several villages. I have seen several places here in my Jammu, where the aquatic life in ponds and lakes have, well, they are extincted even.
So more focus on environmental conservation, especially aquatic life.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome.
This is my main focus.
So that is the message you'd like to give.
This is
well, thank you so much for being here and sharing your thoughts. It's super important, and I wish you all the best. I think you're going to do big things in the months and years and days to come after the revokement. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that concludes New India Junction Changemakers. Till next time, this is Priyanka Deo signing off.